Okay, so we've got a number of people joining now, so we'll just kick off. So hello, good afternoon from Oxford. Pleasure to see many of you this afternoon. Welcome to the Oxford MBA Fundamentals Program webinar today on the 5th of December. I'm joined today by a number of colleagues. So we've got Arthur Nichols here, who's he's heading up our customer engagement team. So any inquiry that you make regarding this program, Arthur will be the person to pick that up. Arthur's team. So some of you may already know him. We have a number of other support team on the call as well, but they're here in a support capacity. So yes, welcome to the webinar. I think the first thing I want to draw your attention to on this opening screen is the 20% discount code that we've put up. So purely for attending the webinar, you get access to the 20% code that we've put up there. That's MBA Web 20. So please do consider that if you do decide to enroll on the program. The other thing I want to know, just from a sort of housekeeping point of view, is that we are recording this seminar. There are a number of people who wanted to join today but couldn't, so we're recording it for their benefit. So if that's a concern, please do let us know. Just be aware that we are recording the session. So just to introduce myself, my name is Alex Whitehouse. I'm a senior program consultant here, and I primarily look after our online programs here at SBS. So let me start the presentation with that in mind. So just to give a quick program overview, I wanted to sort of essentially say what the program is, but also what the program isn't, just to give a quick overview. So this is a 10-week online program. It's £3,500 per person, and the next running of this cohort is on the 29th of January. Now that price, £3,500, obviously that's the standard price. Discounts are available, as we've touched on. And if you have any questions, of course, on any of this, please do use the Q&A tab, and we'll address those at the end. So we'll run through these slides, and then we'll have 10 minutes towards the end of the webinar for any questions you might have, just from a cadence point of view. My colleague Arthur is monitoring the questions that come in, and he will be looking to reply as we go. So don't feel that you're not being heard. We are listening. But just to summarise that, so £3,500 per person. It's worth noting that with these online programs, we're not currently considering any sort of scholarships or payment plans, but there are no other real requirements to joining the program. So as long as you can pay the £3,500 up front and in full, you're welcome to join enroll on the course, and you can do that from today if you so wish. So those are the overview pieces. There is a general cooling off period of 2 weeks from when you enroll onto the program. That's from when you enroll, not from when the course starts. Just bear that in mind. And other terms and conditions are indeed available on the website, so please do read through those. But also just diving now into the learning outcomes, and we've got a few on the screen here. The premise here really is giving you a full breadth of understanding of all the key aspects of business. So that's everything from the analytics to finance to marketing, governance, leadership, and organizational structures. This is designed to give you a very broad concept of all aspects of the MBA and business, but also designed to get you into the practice of critical thinking, what we call critical thinking, around the sort of skills that you'll need to have for preparing individuals to effectively tackle live issues that are coming up in future business challenges. So we're talking about digital transformation, sustainability, but also fostering engagement, diversity, and inclusion. I think Joe's raised his hand, but I mean, perhaps Arthur, if you can tackle that one. If there's any questions, Joe, just stick it in the Q&A, and we'll get to that, or indeed we'll come back to it at the end. So it's very much a case of enhancing your leadership and management capabilities, and also preparing you for the future, as we say, future of business. So it's a little bit of what can you do now, and what do you need to know to set you up for the future, which is a concept that we'll come back to a few times throughout this presentation. So getting into the sort of benefits of the MBA program, I think the first thing to note is that the MBA Fundamentals program, there are similar programs around. The benefit that we have is that we do actually have a world-class MBA program in place. So we're drawing from that MBA. We're drawing from the faculty on that MBA, the world experts that we have in this space. So our approach is slightly different in that we are very much catering to people who are starting out in business, people who are just getting started, but also people who are perhaps are seasoned veterans, managers, CEOs of organizations. Our approach is very distinctly focused on looking at what we're good at now and then setting you up for the future. We also recognize that you may be thinking, well, it's an online course. Perhaps I could look at free resource online, videos, that sort of thing. We differentiate ourselves from that with a premium because we see ourselves as future focused, a future focus that leverages our expert faculty to provide the depth, context, and application that free resources that are currently available we feel simply can't match. So as I say, we cover a very broad basis of participants. And we use our fundamental insights and tools that we have to drive today and to drive today's and tomorrow, the potential tomorrow business environments. We have what we consider to be an integrated global perspective because we feel that success in business requires a very integrated understanding of various disciplines and how they align with current business challenges. This program is specifically designed to guide you through that integration, helping you see the connections between different areas of business and apply them at a high level and at a macro level. Furthermore, through our interactive and global approach, you'll be engaging with a very diverse group of peers, both diverse in background, thought, and location, which we will come on to a little bit later. So what we see as the specific benefits for you and your organization will be very much that you'll be enhancing your current skill set, becoming more effective in your role, we feel right now, but also equipping you for the future and the ever-changing landscape that we feel is coming with real issues that are prevalent today. You'll be gaining a global perspective with the network of peers that you'll be rubbing shoulders with over the 10-week course. And of course, you'll be getting a practical framework that's immediately useful today and now, in the here and now. To give you a little run through of both faculty and indeed modules, I thought it'd be helpful to show you a little overview into the 9 modules that are coming up here over that 10-week period. So if I run through for each one what the learning outcomes look like to give you a sense of what's coming, and again we can do a further deep dive if necessary with any questions you might have. So starting with the orientation, we've got Andrew Stephen doing that. He's the academic director, probably one of the strongest scholars we have here at the school, most recognized names in this space, particularly obviously in marketing. So he's running the orientation. What is the orientation? Well, it'll be familiarizing you with the content, getting you on into the system, getting you the program handbook, and introducing you to the program team that will be guiding you through the next 10 weeks. You'll get a sense of what the pre-reading materials might be and a sense of any pre-reading that we want you to look at ahead of the teaching starting. So there's no specific teaching in the orientation week. It's all about setting you up for Module 1 Business Strategy, which I'll come on to now. So Business Strategy Module 1 with Tom Lawrence. The outcomes here will be everything around applying key theoretical frameworks to understand the strategic environment in which a strategy can take shape, an organization is situated, and an organization's key resources and capabilities. You'll be developing a set of key strategic recommendations as part of this module for an organization based on the analysis of its environment and its resources. And you'll be recognizing, I guess, the limitations of traditional frameworks through developing an awareness of new trends in strategy that's available to us now. So that's Module 1. Module 2, Customers and Marketing, Rhonda. So this is all around initially recognizing the role that marketing plays within an organization. It's reviewing the concept of customer centricity and how it's linked to marketing growth. It's around identifying the value of key marketing frameworks and indeed how they can be applied within your own context, in your own organization, and acknowledging the value of inclusive marketing practice as well, and with a view to how various new technologies can enhance the marketing efforts moving forwards. We bring it on now to Module 3, Innovation and Entrepreneurship with Thomas Hellman and Pinar. So this is, as you'd expect, largely around understanding the key challenges involved with entrepreneurship and what it might take to overcome them, both in the here and now and looking forwards. How you can apply that entrepreneurial framework to evaluate the viability of a business idea at its early stage, and indeed identifying the key features of different types of successful platforms. alongside an evaluation of potential possibilities of disruption in entrepreneurship. Module 4 with operations and management, taught by Ben Lawson. So this is largely around understanding how the operations can create value through the alignment with the business strategy, how you can adopt a process view through analysing business processes, and of course understanding how to uncover waste and drive process improvement throughout your organisation or indeed your team. We've then got business analytics, module 5 with Agni. So this is all around characterising the field of business analytics and how to identify the different types of value that they can bring to an organisation, differentiating between different kinds of data-driven techniques whilst identifying the key milestones in their development and implementation in practice, and also reflecting on the open questions surrounding the use of business analytics today. Finance and economics is module 6, taught by Ludo. This is understanding the key valuation principles. It's conducting a valuation analysis and indeed how you might build a financial model. So it's kind of covering the basis, whilst also applying valuation principles in real life. And there's a case study element to that, which we'll come on to. Also understanding leverage valuation principles in impact investing. People management and leadership is next with Sue Dobson, Michael Schmitz. That's module 7. So this is all around how you would recognise your own leadership, the 4 leadership aspects, how you identify and persuade, but also influence others, how you can identify and perform analysis on the different phases that teams move through in order to understand motivation and team development. And perhaps above all else, you'll be understanding the assumptions, values, that characterize an organization's culture and subcultures. So the general leadership theme. We then move on to organizational design, module 8, with Daniel Amanios, who's our current BT professor. So this is all around understanding our organizational design, our module that will lead the strategy that best suits your organization's information demands and personnel, as well as reviewing what we consider to be key organizational strategies and how to match the right people, processes, and so on to optimize the impact in the longer term within an ever-changing organizational context. And finally, we bring Andrew Stephen back in to address what we call impact from within module. So for those of you who don't follow that, it's not immediately obvious. This is very much focused on tackling global challenges now. So that look ahead piece that we've been touching on. So sort of identifying the best strategic fit between your organization and the challenges that need to be tackled around climate change and elsewhere, determining what we might consider the trade-offs to be between having a wider positive impact on day-to-day operations, and indeed distinguishing between how to tackle different challenges and how successful they might be within a particular organizational context. And then really articulating what we consider the value proposition to be for a business to address these aforementioned global challenges. So it's quite a bit there, as I'm sure you can appreciate, to get through. It's quite 10 weeks is certainly at the meaty end of content for these sorts of online courses. But that's a very quick overview of what those modules look like. I'll move on to just give you a little bit more detail of what the 3 units are within each module. So essentially, every module that you go through, each of those 9 modules, there'll be an element of how does it look today? So what are the fundamental topics that are currently happening now within that business discipline? There's a second unit which then says, let's look at a practical example of that in the form of a case study. And we have case studies for most of these modules, so you can take a practical real life example and take the learnings from that. And then unit 3 is very much the look ahead. So what fresh ideas can we consider for the future in each of these areas? So with that sort of future lens and a view on what potentially the upcoming issues and developments are in those particular topics. So that's a sense of how that works. Now, I know a number of you have already written to me asking about specific learning time required, and hopefully this slide will cover that off. So this gives you a sense of the learning rhythm of what this course looks like. So as I said at the top of the sheet, it's a 10-week online program. First week obviously being on a orientation week, and then it's 9 modules after that, week by week. Those modules, because it's quite a meaty course with quite a bit of content that we're trying to get through, we try to break that down. So what we say is every 2 weeks you'll be taught 3 modules worth, and there's a little table on the right-hand side of the screen there to further explain that. So 3 modules every 2 weeks, followed by 1 week of assessment. And what we do is we repeat that 3 times. So your average time for a module is somewhere between 5 to 6 hours. So you're looking at 15 to 18 hours of self-directed learning every 2 weeks of the course. The modules are typically released on a Wednesday, although that can vary depending on the cohort. It's trying to quote me on that one. And that time, sort of 15 to 18 hours is pretty standard. It's most of our online programs are sort of 8 to 10 hours of learning per week. So that's pretty consistent with our other programs. The live sessions are the one aspect of this that isn't self-directed. Those are every week. So for every module that we run, there will be a 1-hour live session that we run. Again, typically they run on a Wednesday, but that can vary depending on the cohort that we're talking about. So January may not be Wednesdays. If you miss the session, it will be recorded for you and stored on our Canvas platform for later viewing. So that's one thing to note. The other thing to understand is the assessment weeks themselves. So you'll see that there are 3 of those. These vary from fireside chats with head tutors and the academic director, Andrew Stephen. But the core aspect of these assessment weeks are 3 written assignments. Now, these assignments can range from anywhere between 1,000 and 1,500 words. There is a pass rate on these assignments of 50%. You have to hit 50% to pass. And if we take that assessment week that happens after the first 3 modules, it will be all about understanding the content of the previous 3 modules to test your understanding of the content so far. Those 3 written assignments make up 90% of your overall pass grade. So it's important you do engage with them. They'll be released to you. You'll have time to fill it in that week, and then you'll submit it back through the Canvas platform. There's a further 9% of your overall pass grade that comes from the graded quizzes that we will give you at the end of each module week. So there's roughly 9 graded quizzes that you'll need to engage with. So where's the final 1%? I hear you say, well, that is very much from, that's an automated 1% that's given to you for accessing all content. So for those of you who really want that 100% pass grade, you do need to engage with every little bit of the course to get that. So it's just something to think about. So just another little review then. So we've talked about the modules and the overviews of those modules in detail, but this just gives you a little sense of modules 1 to 3 are covered in those first 2 weeks, and we've talked about business strategy, customers and marketing, innovation and entrepreneurship, followed by an assessment week. So your first 1,000 to 1,500 word assignment. We then go into the second chunk of work, modules 4 to 6, covering operations management, business analytics and finance and economics, and then another assessment week. And for those of you still with us, there's then people and leadership, organizational design and impact from within, followed by the final assessment week to test knowledge of those 3 chunks of work as well. So a quick word on what happens afterwards. So let's say we get to the end, everybody's happy and we've finished. We're then looking at the alumni community that you have the option of joining as standard for taking part in this course. So every participant gets the opportunity to be part of this community. You'll be rubbing shoulders with some 37 members so far, hailing from almost 180 countries. There's a real value in the networking that you get from these sorts of programs and the sort of lifelong journey that you go on. Many of the individuals who have joined these alumni communities go on to do further online courses, some of which are further online, usually with a discount as being part of our alumni community. Or indeed, many come to Oxford. Some go on to do our executive diplomas. Some go on to do the MBAs. But as we sort of touched on earlier, this isn't an MBA program as such. It doesn't give you credit for the MBA program, nor is it a sort of foundation piece to the MBA. This is a sort of standalone program with fundamentals of an MBA. So that's just one distinction to note. And as I say, we don't see the journey of professional growth ending with just this one course or several courses. We see this as a network that you will join for very much for life, and there'll be a lot of benefit and value to being part of this global networking community that you'll have the option to join at the end of the program. So with that sort of whistle-stop tour, I'll put the last slide up just to reiterate the code and just to note that it's available to the 12th of December, and to reiterate that the course next course starts on the 29th of January. But with that, I'll throw it over to questions. So I know there's been a number of questions in the chat, but should we throw it over to questions?
Do you happen to know, Alex, the pass rate for Josh, who's asked in the Q&A?
So it's 50% for every assignment, and if you pass every assignment, that makes 90% of your overall score. So if you pass all the assignments, you're through. If you don't pass, we can offer support. That's largely what the faculty are for. That's what the fireside chats are for. There's a lot of support on offer. I know people sometimes get confused with online programs, but you are still getting that Oxford standard quality of teaching and support.
Thank you, Alex. I think I've been able to answer most of the other queries that have come through. Q&A's popping off with a couple more things.
Yeah.
So someone's asking about the certificate. Is it delivered to the participants after they finish the course? Is it possible to get a physical copy? So I can answer that one. Hopefully everyone can hear me clearly. I'll speak up a bit because I'm using Alex's microphone. The certificates are digital. We no longer issue physical certificates, I'm afraid, but you're very welcome to print them. The certificate will say the name of the course, and it will say that it's from Saïd Business School, University of Oxford. And we've had another question: will it be having case study-based concepts, and how that will help for non-managers or someone who wants to handle a business with no accounting or sales experience?
Well, there's two parts there. Yes, every module does have a case study element where appropriate. So from the units breakdown that we shared earlier, there's a little bit of every module is looked at as a how does it work now, followed by here's a case study that currently working like this in a business or a real world scenario, and then a third unit which is very much a looking ahead to future challenges in that space. What I would also say is that don't be, this is a program that is very broad in its sort of accessibility. So it's very much as much for somebody starting out as it is for as we said, seasoned managers and so on. So you don't put off by any lack of experience that you may have. We're here to cater for that.
Thank you, Alex. There's a question as well about the course, the online MBA course. Would it be a plausible way of pursuing following a master's thereafter, or is it essentially, the question is it a preparatory master's course?
So it's not. Yes and no. So it isn't a foundation or a stepping stone in the sense that you get credits for another course or money off the next. You can get a discount for follow-up online courses and in-person exec ed programs, but it is also a standalone program teaching you the core concepts of business. Will it prepare you to take on a bigger program, maybe an MBA at some point, or a master's, or perhaps a diploma of some kind? Yes, it will. But don't think of it as or confuse it with a sort of foundation course to that, if that makes sense.
Thank you, Alex. And just one thing to clarify on the slide there, it says it says that code's valid till the 12th of December, but it's actually going to be valid till the 29th of January.
Okay. Minor correction then, 29th of January.
Sorry about that. Miscommunication.
Yes.
So yes, you will still be able to use that code into January. It's valid for up to the 29th of January, as I've mentioned in a couple of my answers. So you will be able to apply it after Christmas if you decide to apply then. Okay, looking back at the Q&A, I think we've answered those questions then. We've had a thank you from somebody, so that's good. Thank you for attending.
Yes.
A couple more questions coming up in the chats. So we'll start with, I'll come back to the, there's a couple in there. I'll come back to one of them, but as a follow-up to that question you just answered, Alex, knowledge-wise, would it prepare you for the content of a possible master's? It sounds like the question is. Am I understanding your question there correctly? So would the content be relevant for a master's, I suppose is the question. I think the answer is yes.
Yes, the answer to that is yes. I was just being careful to be clear that it doesn't give you a foundational credit towards a master's. But yes, the core content will prepare you for that. Yeah.
Another question is, are there scholarship opportunities available for international candidates?
Sadly, not at this stage. So as we touched on at the beginning, we're not considering scholarships or payment plans for this program. It is very much a upfront and in full arrangement. But as we've got on the screen here, you can have 20% off if you use that code. Other codes may well become available as we build up towards the 29th of January.
Thank you, Alex. There's a question from somebody in the chat asking, which I can answer. Could you clarify if we will have both live sessions and recorded sessions? And also, what sort of access will we have to the content? Will there be a library or reference materials? And what happens if I'm late submitting my assessment? So the first question was, are there live and recorded sessions? Yes, there's a live session every week and a couple of additional live sessions. Those will typically be late morning or early afternoon UK time. They are recorded. If you're unavailable, you can catch up on them afterwards on the recordings. And there are recorded, not so much recorded sessions, but the modules you're completing are pre-recorded or pre-produced. So in other words, you can complete them at a time that suits you. You don't have to be live for the module. In terms of access to the content, that will be through a platform we use called Canvas. You'll need to log into Canvas to access that those materials. You won't be able to access them before the course starts, and you won't be able to access them after the course is finished either, just to make you aware. If you are going to be late submitting an assessment, I would just say get in touch with us and let us know, and we can try and be flexible for you. We in the past, we have approved small extensions to deadlines, normally not more than a day or two, if that's needed. But if there's something more serious going on and you need us to be more flexible, just ask us the question and we will do the best we can for you. Okay, there's a couple more things have come up in the chats. Thank yous. You're very welcome. Will we receive a copy of today's session recording?
Yeah, so everyone that's attended today, we will email you a copy of the slides that we've just run through. And as I say, do get in touch with any further questions that you might have to our online inbox, which we can share in the chat.
Thank you. I'll put that email address in there again as well. And thank you, Zoe. I'm sorry, I see you answered that question in the chat. Someone needs to leave. That's okay. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Can we download the materials? No, you won't be able to download the materials. Those materials they're owned by Saïd Business School, and they'll also be updated quite regularly by us. So they're not downloadable, and they are kept up to date for the programs as and when we run them. But they're only accessible through our platform called Canvas. I'll put the email address for you once more in the chat. So if anyone needs to make a note of it, I'm just typing it out now.
We're just coming to the end of the half an hour, so we'll take another couple of questions after if there are any.
Yeah, we can wait for a couple of minutes. If you need to leave now, that's fine. Thank yous. We're getting thank yous in the chat. Thank you for coming. Much appreciated.
Hope to see you in January.
Yeah. Look forward to seeing you next year.
Enroll on the website.
Thank you guys for your time. You're very welcome. Thank you. You're welcome. Oh, that's so nice. Thank you. Sorry, I cannot hear Tiny last answer clearly. You mean we cannot download or we can download? Yeah, sorry, just to clarify, you won't be able to download the materials. You'll only be able to access them through Canvas, which is our learning platform. Is that okay? Yeah, you heard me. Great, thank you. See you in January, someone said. Fantastic.
Brilliant. Okay, well, thank you all for your time. Real pleasure to see you all today.
Oh, let me check the Q&A, sorry.
And
so a couple more questions in the Q&A. 6 hours per week and 10 weeks program. If there is some delay, as we have some work priorities, hope this will be considered to complete the course. Yeah, I may have answered that already for you. We will try to be flexible if there's exceptional circumstances come about. So just get in touch if you're concerned or if something's come up that's going to delay you or anything like that. Do just contact us and we'll do the best we can for you to be flexible for you. Do we have any period till when we can get refunds in case we are not able to complete in case of unforeseen scenarios? I think I know the answer to that. Do you know the answer?
Well, there's the initial cooling off period of 2 weeks after you've enrolled.
14 days, isn't it?
Yeah, 14 days. And after that, we'll need to refer you to the general terms and conditions in terms of, but we can make allowances for personal difficulties and challenges, as Arthur has said. Where appropriate, we'll apply it on a case-by-case basis.
I think I recall that, yeah, so within 14 days, you can cancel with no fee or charge. After 14 days, my understanding is that there is a cancellation fee. That will be covered in our online FAQs, which I'll put a link to in the chat now for anyone who's still here. That's our FAQs. I'll just add a comment. Anything else? Thanks very much, gents, for answering. You're welcome. Much appreciated. Thank you for being here. Still got a few people in the room, so they may be wanting to ask questions. I think it's quieting down now. Hope I was able to keep on top of all those questions in the chat. There were quite a few coming through at one point, but I think I answered everybody. Thanks for your time. You're welcome. Thank you. See you then. Looking forward to it. Great. Thank you so much. No problem. Thanks a lot. You're welcome. No problem at all. Okay. I'll stop sharing, and I think we'll bring it to a close. But thank you all for your time again, and yeah, thank you. Real pleasure to see you all, and yeah, hope to see you in January, as we say. I'd say apply as soon as you can, because these cohorts do get full. You may find that strange, given it's an online program, but there are a limit to how many places we can take. So do enroll if you're interested as soon as possible to get onto that January cohort. But yeah, we look forward to seeing you, and thank you all, and goodbye.